Okay, we're back with the second video in the series, which is going to be about the first reason I did my bodybuilding show, and that's because I wanted to know what it was like to diet down and really stick to a bodybuilding diet for a duration of time, right? So my bodybuilding prep, to recap, was 22 weeks long, and it was a long 22 weeks in the beginning. I went from a typical diet of an I guess an adaptation of if it fits your macros, but not living it to the T. Like not eating whatever I want just to fill in my macros, right? So that didn't mean I was getting going out every day and getting a Big Mac, Chick-fil-A, or whatever fast food and just kind of throwing it in there as a hodgepodge to fill in my macros. I was still eating a pretty relatively clean diet, but just utilizing if it fits your macros concept. So I was still eating chicken breasts, chicken thighs, fish every now and then, steaks, lean ground beef, rice was my main source of carbohydrates before going into bodybuilding. I didn't really eat that much bread or potatoes, so a lot of white rice, some noodles every now and then fill in with veggies and fruits every day, right? So I still ate sort of clean. And then every now and then I just give myself a cheat whenever I felt like it, right? So in the past, when I've tried to diet down, that's how I would follow it. I would just lower my macros, lower my calories, and then approach it that way. With bodybuilding, way different, whole new different concept in the sense of restrictive eating and only eating particular types of foods because only certain foods felt good to me or worked well with me. I guess I wouldn't say felt good, but worked well with me. And I figured, or how did I figure that out, right? So I did hire a coach. I had a bodybuilding coach. His name is Anabolic Poppy on Instagram. If you guys want to hit him up, he's a no BS kind of coach, I would say, and he's not there to sugarcoat things, right? So that can be a later topic, but only foods I ate throughout my whole prep, right, was white rice, white potatoes, because I don't like sweet potatoes, cream of rice, um, chicken breast, white fish, a vegetable. Um, Typically, it was going to be, I think, spinach, asparagus, or broccoli. I was allowed onions and mushrooms as well. And then a fruit of choice. So for the most part, it was like tangerines or a banana or an apple, I think, as well as what I got. I don't remember the exact fruit, but it was particular fruits as well that I could eat. And then my other fish I was able to eat was salmon, and then at night, steak. And then I was also allowed 96 4-gram beef. So to compare from what I was doing before, right? I would relatively eat kind of the same stuff, right? Not all the time would I eat chicken breast. Sometimes I'd sub it out with chicken thighs, things like that. I would definitely give myself more freedom to eat if there was a craving. This one was didn't matter if I had a craving. Stick to the diet and follow the diet every day, right? So a couple of key things that played a factor, right, was weighing my food. So having a food scale, I already had one of those, so that was critical. And um, kind of the reason why, right? So the main thing was I wanted to ensure that I could keep myself accountable and actually follow the diet and kind of just prove to myself that I could go through something like this. And there are pros and cons, right? I'll say it is mentally draining and it doesn't taste great, right? So prep food was the same food, same meals. Every day, every 6 meals were the exact same meals. Meal one was the same meal. Meal two, same meal. Three, four, five, six. The only differences I would have were on my non-training days, where instead of having 6 meals, I would eat 5 meals because I would subtract a pre-workout meal. So I'm not eating my cream of rice meal. So in lieu of a cream of rice meal, when I train, I'd have that. When I don't train, I would not have that. So 5 meals non-training, 6 meals training, and just gradually over the 22 weeks. And this one shouldn't be a shocker, right? Just like any other sort of weight loss, you lower your calories, right? You lower your caloric intake. You lower your caloric intake over time, right? If you're losing the weight as much as you'd like, or if you're not losing the weight, then you do it based off that. In powerlifting, so actually let me go back. So before I started bodybuilding, I did kind of label myself as just like a power lifter, I guess, if we have to segment into different fitness modalities, right? So there's powerlifting, bodybuilding, strongman, CrossFit. Now there's high rocks, you got marathon personnel, and then you got like athletes that partake in your sports, right? So pick whatever sport and then you train for that sport with the weights, right? So it'd be a different style of training. So if we think of it like that, then I would label myself as a powerlifter. And for powerlifting, your sole goal is to lift as much weight as possible. And I guess it would be right at the lightest weight that you can be at, right? So whatever weight you're comfortable with going down to, and then try to maximize your strength output at that weight. I guess that's a good way of summing up powerlifting. Additionally, you're only doing 3 lifts: bench, squat, and deadlift. So before, my training primarily focused on those 3 lifts and doing whatever accessory lifts I could do to, you know, focus on that. I say all that to say in powerlifting, you don't care about how much you or how you look. Not necessarily. That's not the goal of powerlifting. Nor do you care how much muscle you really retain, in the sense of strength does not equate to muscle. And that was a big thing to me for some reason. Is I couldn't comprehend that strength did not equate to muscle. And I bring that up because as I'm bodybuilding and I'm lifting and I'm doing a lot more accessory lifts, right? And the body weight is getting shut off. I realize I don't have as much muscle as I thought I did. Not saying I thought I was walking around like a menace, like Mogging people, but I just thought I had a little bit more muscle than I thought I did. And by the time I started I had prejudging the day of the show, April 19th. Really big, shock factor to me were how big some of these other guys were. And I was in the same class as they were, right? Because it's by height for classic physique. So come stage time, I'm weighing in at 142.8, 143 pounds. These other dudes are weighing in at the weight cap at 171, or I don't remember exactly, but some of the guys are like 169, 170, 171. And so how does that play into kind of like my whole dieting, right? Like, I wanted to do this because I wanted to follow the diet, shed the weight, see what I had under the weight, and sticking to a bodybuilding routine, and not just crash dieting like I've done in the past for powerlifting, because I would just crash diet and then I would, compete for powerlifting competitions. So, right, that could be a lesson learned for me, right? It's like I don't pack on it. I don't have as much muscle as I thought I did. And one, it definitely could be from nutrition, lack of my dedication to nutrition, right, to follow it during my powerlifting. Maybe my way of looking at nutrition might not have been the best, right? I guess not the most optimal for muscle packing. And 2, strength does not equate to muscle size, right? Additionally, the other thing I wanted to do was to see how my body looked based on bodybuilding dieting and then powerlifting dieting. And I'll actually throw up a before and after, or not before and after, sorry. A photo of me when I'm 146 and then a photo of me when I'm 142 or 143 point something. And you can take a look at the photos. There is some differences, right? Now, is it like the biggest difference in the world to me? Clearly, the photos are not in the same lighting, right? I'm not in the same poses. I'm in different underwear, right? So that's pretty cool. But I just thought it was a good experiment to kind of do on my own too, right? I've gone down. I know what it's like to be that light, and I know what I looked like in the past. But to see myself with doing some dedicated ab trainings and all these things, it's cool to see how shredded I was able to look at the time, right? But that's kind of reason one, right, for me doing a bodybuilding competition, was to see if I could stick to a diet, how well I could stick to the diet, and things like that. Mentally, like I said, it is exhausting. It's hard. Some things that I learned out of it was going to social events is not fun because you can't eat. And I knew that going to the social events that I did go to, it's just when I would think, I just thought it was a little bit easier, but it's not. And it really is a lot harder to kind of have fun and be around people when you can't enjoy the food that is at the party or at the restaurant or whatever, right? There were times where I did bring my own Tupperwares and whatnot because I still wanted to go out and hang out with people, but I just couldn't eat what they ate. Another thing I realized is this is like a weird one. I'm not a big drinker. I don't drink. I don't even drink weekly or whatever it is, right? Like I just do social drinking when I do go out. But because I can't drink alcohol of any sort, as it got down to like 17, 18, 19, 20 weeks, and the show is on the 22nd week, I was like craving alcohol to the point where like one of my things post show was like, I'm gonna drink. Like I'm gonna make it a point to drink. I will drink. And then like after the show ends, I had like a couple shots and I'm like, okay, I'm over my drink fix. But I was like so dedicated, like I was so missing out on alcohol that like it was something I craved and I'm not like an alcoholic. Or maybe I am. I don't know. Anyways, so those are some things that came out of this. I think it's good to hear a perspective of a person that's done their first bodybuilding competition. And will I do another one? We'll see. We will see. But the next video I'll talk about reason number 2 as to why I did a bodybuilding competition. So if you enjoyed reason number 1's video, thank you to the 5 people that watch and continue to watch and tell me to keep uploading videos because I don't know. I'm going to keep doing it and hopefully I figure out some sort of schedule to keep uploading because I know my schedule is all out of whack. But thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Iron and Misfits still lives on.